Welcome to Multimeter 101. In order to properly troubleshoot American Dish Services quality line of wear washers, you must have the proper electrical multimeter and be proficient in its use. Before we begin, let's set some safety ground rules. First, read and understand the instructions that you were supplied with your device. They will vary. If you don't understand how to safely use the meter, secure help from a qualified technician before proceeding. Make sure the device is in good working order, no broken or bare leads, a fresh battery. Make sure it's clean and dry. Make sure your clamping feature is free moving and closes completely. The power switch needs to be turned on with the digital display clearly showing your setting. This should be turned off immediately when troubleshooting is completed to save battery life. Most units have a backlight to illuminate your display in darker environments. And many meters will have a hold button for keeping your last reading of the display. Now let's plug in the meter leads. Black, the negative ground input terminal, and red, the positive input terminals for volts, resistance, diode, temperature, and continuity test. Again, remember to remove all jewelry from hands and wrists before using the meter on any live electrical circuit. And verify the meter's ability to check voltage by testing a known good 115 volt AC wall outlet. Here's how. Set the meter to read volts AC. Insert one of the meter leads into one vertical slot of the working 115 volt AC receptacle and the other meter lead into the other vertical slot. Meter should read between 110 and 120 volts AC. If there is no reading or a very low reading, the meter is not working properly. Remember, safety first. Electrical current is deadly and can kill or severely injure. Don't take any unsafe chances. This video is not intended to replace proper electrical instruction. Here's an example of a clamp-over multimeter that should meet your troubleshooting needs. Now down to practical use. To check AC volts, set the meter correctly. Test incoming power at the terminal block of an ADC44. First, check L1 to L2, L2 to L3, and L1 to L3. Then check L1 to ground, L2 to ground, L3 to ground. This second test is going to determine if we indeed have a balanced three-phase supply or if there's a high leg or wild leg. This will also show if we have dropped one of the supply legs. Now resistance. Let's do 3 common tests. Set the meter correctly. Always check resistance with the component out of the circuit. Never check resistance on a live circuit. It will damage the meter. To measure ohms on a toggle switch, set the switch to be tested in the off position. Put one meter lead on one terminal of the switch and the other meter lead on the other. The meter should be silent and show OL. Turn switch to on position with the leads attached, and the meter should signal and show a numeric reading on the screen. Check ohms on the heater element. Put one meter lead on one of the 3 heater terminals and the other meter lead on the second heater terminal. Make a note of that reading. Now by leaving the first meter lead attached and move the other meter lead to the remaining heater terminal. Also make a note of that reading. Now move the meter lead from the first heater terminal to the second heater terminal, leaving the other lead in place, and make a note of that reading. Now compare all 3 readings against publisher heating resistance specs. Let's talk about ohming out a fuse. First, place the fuse on an insulated surface. Place one meter lead on one end of the fuse and the other meter lead on the other end of the fuse. If the meter signals and shows a numeric value, the fuse is good. If the meter is silent and shows OL, the fuse is spent and has to be replaced. Now amperage. Set your meter correctly. Amp out a running 3-phase motor on the ADC44. by clamping the meter over one and only one of the 3 wires going to the motor. Make a note of the reading. Move the meter clamp to another one of the 3 wires going to the motor and make a note of that reading. Do the same test on the remaining wire, making a note of the reading. All readings should be in the same general range and should fall within the published spec range. Now capacitor check. Set the meter to 1000 ohms range. Discharge capacitor by shorting both terminals with a screwdriver. Do not touch the screwdriver blade while performing this. The meter will read OL. Put a meter probe on each terminal of the capacitor, and the meter should read a numerical value and drop back to OL. Reverse the probes on the terminal of the capacitor, and it should again swing from OL to numerical and back to OL. If there is no swing, the capacitor is bad. I hope this is helpful. Thank you for considering American Dish for your warewashing needs.